Hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from Totally Not Mark, and I love these character discussion videos that he does, and he's uploaded one about Beerus. I quite like Beerus as a character, so for him to title this Beerus the problem character is quite an interesting take. I don't feel like personally Beerus brings any problems to Super. I feel like if anything he opens more directions in which the story can go, with him being the god of destruction already being known previously by certain characters, and how it opened up into the Tournament of Power and all these other universes having gods of destruction, and how the gods of creation linked as well. They were already set there and it just expanded all that. But it's always opinion driven, isn't it? Every video it always is when it comes to discussing these kind of things. So let's see what Totally Not Mark has to say on this. Oof.
Is Beerus a good character? I've been pretty vocal in the past with the issues I think Dragon Ball Super has had, from the pacing to the lack of tension in certain scenes, and even the way a lot of characters have been written. And one character that comes up time and time again in these various scenarios and conversations has been Beerus the Destroyer.
Yeah.
So I went to Twitter and asked my followers what they thought of the character, asking them if they thought the character had served Dragon Ball Super well. The verdict and responses were more split than I thought they'd be. After 5,600 votes cast, and almost 200 comments discussing the topic, the final tally was 71% in favor of Beerus and 29% disliking his inclusion. However, the most surprising part for me was in the comments section, which painted a much more negative picture for our purple Egyptian cat monster. So, let's dive in and try to understand the pros and cons to one of the most iconic characters introduced to modern age anime. He's one of the most important and powerful characters in the 7th universe and in the entire Dragon Ball story. This is the problem character, Beerus.
Why the problem character though? He only gets involved when necessary. There's rules.
I don't really think it'll come as a surprise to any of you watching this that I'm a massive fan of the series. I followed it since I was 8 years old, which
your channel's
means
based
I've been
around
watching Dragon Ball for close to 20 years now. And in that time, I've seen the main series end and continue through without the original author directing the story. And whatever your feelings are about Dragon Ball GT, whether you love it, hate it, or are indifferent to it, it's sort of impossible to deny that it turned a lot of people away from what was the single most successful manga ever created for the time. And so, when the announcement came that Akira Toriyama was taking the Dragon Ball story back into his control, continuing it forward where we last left off, I and many others were very excited.
Very hyped.
Tentative. Anxious,
I was hyped.
Because we didn't love Dragon Ball or the idea of it coming back, but for a lot of us, we didn't know if it would feel right. There's something about the original series that feels sort of distinct, and it's clear that whatever that Dragon Ball mess is, people find it difficult to replicate faithfully without turning a large portion of the fan base sour. There is something about Akira Toriyama's characters, from how they are designed to how they act and conduct themselves, that oozes personality, and even hints oftentimes at hidden complexity. From its long list of villains and heroes, Akira Toriyama created a world of his own and brought it to life by filling it with tons of colorful, interesting, and endearing characters. Pushing the main message of Dragon Ball, which is to push your own limits past what others think is possible, despite great adversity. It's not easy to create a character, and I think, especially when it comes to Dragon Ball Z, it's easy to introduce or create a character that takes themselves way too seriously. And I think that's really evident if you look at most of the OCs created by the fan base. And so, maybe it was a good thing that Dragon Ball ended the way it did. It left the series open-ended, with the journey continuing indefinitely as Goku went on fighting and training the future successor as the Earth's protector. Dragon Ball Z had already
We're having a lot of a go around here before we get into the discussion about Beerus himself here.
Continuously increased the scale and consequences of each subsequent iteration. By the end of the series, many of us became desensitized to the stakes and the consequences because they had become too impossibly large to fully appreciate in a lot of ways. But in 2012, Akira Toriyama decided to continue Dragon Ball's story.
Hell yes he did.
Had a remedy for that very problem. From the very first scene I was introduced to this brand new character, I immediately fell in love with him. Noticing not only what it meant for the series moving forward, but also appreciating how perfectly he fit into the tone of it. He's devastatingly powerful, but also very endearing and lighthearted a lot of the time.
He doesn't want to get involved, but he could.
If he was nothing but powerful, that would be boring. Very boring. Acting as the film's antagonist, not villain, Beerus offered exactly what the classic Dragon Ball formula needed. Overwhelming competition for Goku.
Goku,
That's
he needed
aspect
something
of what,
to
for me,
just
didn't
fight.
Work well within the Majin Buu saga itself. Because the Dragon Ball story is largely about Goku, and because of this, how he interacts with the story is incredibly important. His character is designed such that it's most interesting when discovering new things and when he's on the back foot in a fight, much like he was when he was against Frieza.
I like the idea of constantly having someone that is stronger than Goku around, but not trying to
creates moments that we
beat him.
Will always remember.
Oh, mate.
And I think it's safe to say that Beerus pushed Goku into these win-or-die circumstances that created moments precisely like that moment with Frieza on Namek.
Not let you destroy my world! Yes.
For me, it's abundantly
I've
clear
gone through
that
dark
Beerus
moments.
has a defined
Some of them are amazing.
character and offers a massive expansion to the Dragon Ball lore, opening up massive new worlds.
This is what I said in the opening. It's like, okay, this is not where I thought the video was going.
That's not to say that he doesn't have his problems. Massive problems.
Okay,
and these problems started to surface when the second modern Dragon Ball film was released. Damn yeah! What I think is most interesting about this particular character is that the attributes which I praised in the beginning half of this video are precisely the root causes for many of the issues people seem to have with him now. And these gripes came up time after time after time in the comment section of my poll on Twitter. You see almost every aspect of Beerus that acted as a positive for him in Battle of Gods and the show thereafter, from Resurrection F and to an even greater degree in Dragon Ball Super. As I've said before, one of Dragon Ball's biggest problems was Goku and the main cast's ever-increasing power level, raising the stakes to ridiculous, absurd levels, and while Beerus' presence does give Goku a chance to be an underdog in a fight, he also provides a massive downside that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z never once had to contend with. A loss of tension. Dragon Ball Z is one of those series that provided
he could just jump in at any moment and sort it out, is what you're saying.
Seats, wondering if Goku, if Vegeta, if Ten Shinhan, or whomever was going to pull through. That tension, that suspense is what made Dragon Ball so incredibly compelling. It's why when I pick up a Dragon Ball manga and open a random page, I get sucked in so easily. It always did a terrific job of creating tension. And one way of breaking down tension, sucking the atmosphere out of a scene, is like this.
Having Beerus there.
Beerus?
That's not polite, Frieza. You forgot to say Lord.
Now, I can understand that many fans of the Beerus character will offer the argument that Beerus really isn't on anyone's side. He tries to be neutral and really wouldn't care too much if Frieza defeated Goku there and then. But that's sort of the problem. That mentality surrounding what should be the biggest fight to date in the series makes everything feel less important. It makes us think, well, what's the big deal about watching the second best fight that can happen? And when your film and subsequent television series doesn't pay off Beerus' fight at all, it makes me wonder, what does he offer this scene? What value is he adding?
Why is he there?
The answer is none. Well, that's not entirely true either, but it did ruin the flow of the film and the enjoyment of the battle for a lot of people, including myself. The fight scene takes up a large chunk of the film, and a massive turning point narratively within this movie was how Frieza would react to Vegeta being yet another obstacle to overcome despite finishing Goku through clever tactics. Imagine how suspenseful Frieza's defeat of Goku would have been had Vegeta been the only other person left to settle things. And imagine if we didn't know if he even stood a chance.
Beerus wasn't there.
Now to look back at what could have been, but this for me is a massive part of what made this movie significantly worse than Battle of Gods. However, with that said, it's not like Beerus didn't offer anything to the film. His presence in that scene offered some levity through humor that only someone like him with a far superior power level can enjoy during climactic scenes like this one. However, even with the humor and lighthearted, endearing banter he expressed in the prior film, in this one, it really starts to become a tiring routine. In Resurrection F, at least for me, it became extremely obvious that the writers felt obligated to include Beerus but didn't have the first idea of what to do with him. They needed Whis, as his involvement was crucial for the film to reach its conclusion, but Beerus was just sort of there. I mean, if you really think about it, what changes if you remove Beerus from this equation? Well, not much. And unfortunately, his involvement wasn't without a massive drawback to the overall atmosphere of the film and scenes. And it only got worse from here. A strength that Beerus offered to Battle of Gods was that he showed yet again that there will always be someone stronger than Goku. That concept works fantastically well in a movie format that lasts around 2 hours. It's sort of a natural extension of what Dragon Ball and Goku's philosophy has been throughout the series. But take that concept and now stretch it across a 131 episode long series,
Right,
and you
I
get
see
a
where you're
character
going with
that sucks
this.
the drama and stakes out of
Everything
fight the
that
main
he's
cast
involved
is
with,
in, and
because there's no
proves to be
stakes.
less
Okay,
and less
right, yeah,
funny,
yeah.
with the same style of jokes popping up again and again and again. Now, that's not to say that I don't think Beerus has
The
any funny moments at all
baseball
in Dragon Ball
episode.
Super. Again, he has had some moments where I got legitimately amused by him, but he honestly provides more misses than hits when it comes to the comedy section. His presence largely serves only to turn the spectacle of a massive Dragon Ball fight into a couple of kids having a scuffle while he, the dad, watches from the park bench. He has great moments that exist within
Oh man,
the
that was
series
amazing
itself,
with his
and I
brother.
will acknowledge that wholeheartedly. He's had some brighter moments that have shown a more interesting side to him on occasion, but again, it's been more misses than hits when you take into account the entire series. So in that light and in that vein, I understand that people have a distaste and are fed up with the character. Despite having terrific
I
upsides
never
early on
had
and one of my
this,
favorite
though.
designs for a character in the entire show, it's obvious that the talent behind Toei's writing staff, as well as Akira Toriyama really, have nothing for him while we wait for his inevitable rematch against Goku.
That's- I suppose that's what
nothing
we're waiting for,
demonstrates
isn't
that
it?
more clearly than the Broly film.
Because they leave him out of it
They
completely.
had nothing for this character. They needed Whis involved, and because these two are sort of
So,
attached at the hip,
babysit the baby.
Beerus, once again, like in Resurrection F, is forced into being involved. However, unlike Resurrection F, they seem to have learned from their past mistake
And they just, like,
sidelined the character almost
shun him to the
immediately
side.
after he showed his face. Look, my main issue with Beerus isn't necessarily his character. I actually really enjoy it.
He's
His
funny.
personality
He's
is
great.
playful and
Very
complements
interesting.
Goku's in a fascinating way that even Dragon Ball Super has demonstrated. I love his design, I love the general theme of what he has going on, but strangely, it's how he fits and complements many aspects of modern Dragon Ball that I really don't like. Tons of folks complained over the lack of tension in Dragon Ball Super early on, and the two arcs that happened to have the most tension were the ones that traveled to the future without Beerus
Without him there.
involved, and
Well,
the Universe
he did
Survival
affect
arc,
things,
which
though.
again, Beerus couldn't be involved with. I personally think we are at a point right now where the next move for Beerus is to be lesser than Goku or Vegeta. Witnessing how he reacts to this sudden shift in status quo could be interesting and offer a lot in the way of development for him, if that's the direction they so choose. But until then, in my opinion, Beerus is still something of a problem character.
Oh, Nyanka.
Thanks for watching.
Okay. Video didn't go quite where I thought it was, so I went in there quite negative, didn't I? I was like, how dare he? But he did have some valid points, like totally not normal test. Like I said, him being there was interesting, opened up new ways for the story to go, and blah blah blah. But he is kind of right in the fact that when he's around and there's a big stake fight going on, you can't help but feel like if he got involved, it really doesn't mean anything. So he's not wrong in that aspect. I'll give him that. Yeah. I did went in there quite like, oh, what the, why is he, ugh. But, yeah, that was good. I love these, discussion videos on the characters, and he obviously does love Dragon Ball. Jesus Christ, like, the whole channel's based around it. That's cool. And I did enjoy that. That was a really good discussion. I need to do videos in the future where I don't just sit here and watch it and talk over it. I need to, like, break it down, and that's what I'm planning on doing next year. I want to do some actual, like, get clipped, edit, discuss, and, like, what I react to. But until then, thank you guys very much for watching. What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should want to discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys. So you guys next time.